Hello again and welcome to another one in our series Breaking Down Barriers. My name is Chris Igwe and I want to introduce my book, Breaking Down Barriers, My Journey from a Small African Village to the World Stage. This is the backdrop of what we go through during these series in order to get some insights and a glimpse into ways in which these can help shine a light on your path. I take a chapter and I don't go through the chapter itself, but I give you a little bit of an insight as to what it is that I want to communicate. So the thought for this particular one is entitled, Don't Let Material Possessions Define You. Don't let material possessions define you. Because you see, at the end of the day, if you have a dream of whatever type it is, the majority of us want to have a house, perhaps, let alone an apartment. Maybe we're living at home, we're living with our parents. We live in times today where making ends meet with two salaries coming in, two incomes to help just move forward in our day-to-day life. Perhaps those struggles are sort of where you are for different reasons. But maybe you already have a house and you want something bigger. Maybe you have an apartment, you want a bigger apartment. Maybe you want a place in the country as well as a place in your city. Maybe you want a nice fancy car. Maybe you want expensive clothes. Maybe you want to wear branded products. Maybe you want luxury. You want to be seen walking around with the chains, the trinkets, the bracelets, the whatever. Whatever your benchmark is for success, that is okay. I'm not saying that is the wrong thing to pursue. But what I'm saying is, don't let them define you. You don't want people to look at you and go, oh, he or she is different when they're flying business class or first class, or when they're driving a beautiful fast car, or going to an expensive restaurant, or living in this big house where when people are invited to it, they sort of think, oh, wow, they're impressed on the one hand, but then there's a bit of wariness. Is that same person, that same you, the same that can be found in any circumstance? Whether you're dressed to kill, fantastic looking, will you treat people in the same way? You're dressed in an amazing way and you walk into a restaurant or you walk into a hotel or whatever. Do you have the same respect for them as you would like them to have for you, or the other way around? Just because you are looking, feeling, owning expensive things does not mean that you should change who you are, on the assumption that who you are is already someone that people want to engage with, because they say, oh, I like him or I like her. With them, I'm a human being. They see me as human. Because in the same way, even if you're driving, and I can use driving because I've loved and owned nice cars, fast cars. And that was one of my dreams, which I talk about in one of the chapters, where I visualized having my BMW M5. I desperately wanted it. Not because I wanted to show anybody off that I had this beautiful car, but because I wanted to enjoy the driving experience. I wanted to enjoy owning that car. And my family loved it. The kids loved it. They would always say, Dad, can we go out? Let's take the car. Let's go out. Not because we wanted to show off to our neighbors, but because we wanted something that was giving me pleasure. But I didn't want to be any different inside or outside that car. And that's what I'm saying, is don't let those things that are external, that are materialistic, define who you are and define your behavior. Your values should still be the same. You should still be able to welcome and embrace people as human beings, as man and woman, whoever they happen to be. Here's a quote from J.C. Penney, who you may know or know of, one of the major department stores in the UK. He said, men are not great or small because of their material possessions. They are great or small because of what they are. I could also say of who they are, because what or who, perhaps different words, but I would probably use who, but that was his quote. Men are not great or small because of their material possessions. They are great or small because of what they are. J.C. Penney, founder of the department store. Because if you go down the wrong path about flaunting these material things, people will then see you differently. You may push them away, you may alienate them because they think, oh, I can't get to him or her, or because having what you have externally means that you treat people perhaps inferiorly. You don't want to do that either. So what I'm saying here is don't change who you are. If you are by nature a wonderful, caring, loving human being, and if you're not, then work towards it. That shouldn't change just because you're wearing branded products. It shouldn't be because you shop at luxury brands. It shouldn't be because you live in a big house. It shouldn't be because you travel business class or first class and eat in the finest restaurant, go to the finest hotels. That should not change you. We need to remain humble. Here in France, there is an expression which is pour vivre heureux, vivre caché. And the literal translation is to be happy, live hidden. To be happy, live hidden. Now, colloquially, in other words, in everyday life, that was the original one, but it's been transformed, if you like, or evolved into almost vivre heureux, vivre caché. To live happily, live in hiding, as it were. And what that has been taken to mean, in a sense, and it is true because I've seen it, some people who are well off, wealthy, well-to-do, have status, they may have a very big house or nice car, but it's in the countryside. It's not in the city center. So when you see them in business or whatever, they run around maybe in a small car, not looking in any way ostentatious, in any way looking different. But when they go to their country home, they have a nice car that they drive in, maybe belong to a country club, have a lovely house and so on. Vivre heureux, vivre caché. That's one of the things that, just as a thought, it's like, I'm not saying you should hide it. If you want to show it, that's okay. But what I'm saying is don't have two lives. Don't have one which is where people see you where you're relaxed in a car that anybody else owns. And then when you drive around in a beautiful car, you behave in a different way. Don't let material possessions define you. And in wrapping up, the reason I came upon this thought, if you like, in my book is because when we left Nigeria, like I say, the book is my journey from a small African village to the world stage, and that small African village is in Nigeria. We arrived in the UK shortly after a major civil war. We had nothing. We lost everything in the war. Literally living in one room, one bedroom, in a house that the church accommodated us in. 6 of us in the family, 4 children and my parents. And grew up there for several months before we were able to find our way and find our feet, thanks to my parents. So I know what it's like to come from a place of having nothing and then build it and grow. But I always had to maintain, and my parents taught us this as children, to keep the values and the integrity that they had brought us up with. That wherever we ended up being, we should carry that understanding of our fellow human being. Our position of power, responsibility, or our bank account size should not make any difference. And that's my encouragement to you. So I hope this has resonated. Don't let material things define you. Whatever you are in your big house, you should be the same outside your big house, in the street or wherever. So if this has resonated, please feel free to like, comment and share, and of course subscribe to the channel so you know when other videos are becoming available. And until the next time, thank you.